right. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, yeah.
Doing very well. Happy Valentine's Day.
Hmm?
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. I'm on the hard stuff tonight. I stole a bottle of John's water.
Okay.
Yep. How's everyone? Good?
Good.
Survived the snowstorm?
We did.
It was the best type of snowstorm when it's out of here immediately.
It was funny. As soon as the sun came out, man, that melted away pretty quick.
Well, it was like we don't get it much anymore, which I'm thankful for. But it was a lot at once because when we went to bed, it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock or something. It hadn't even rained or anything yet here. I'm like, how the hell are we going to get as much as they're saying? And then it, sure enough, did.
As soon as that temperature dropped.
Yep.
There you go. There be it. Well, anyway, it's a Wednesday night. We're all in our confines of our home. It's good to be home, right?
Oh yeah.
Good to be home. Lots to talk about. Lots to figure out what the hell's going on in the Philly sports world and the rest of the world. Prayers go out to the people in Kansas City affected by today's shooting. That's just a horrible, horrible situation. And, I mean, I wasn't sure who conducted the interview. I know the police chief was there, and one of the speakers said this stuff isn't supposed to happen in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Well, it's not supposed to happen anywhere.
Well, I mean,
Not on a day like today.
No. I mean,
no, first of all, anything like this is horrible no matter what. But then you think this is a celebration where people are there to have a good time, and then it's like, okay, well, obviously you hope that it's a one-time thing, never happens again. But does this affect other? You work so hard; these guys deserve to be in a parade and enjoy themselves. So do the fans, and a lot of fans also don't have the money to go to games, so that's their enjoyment. It's just horrible, all of it.
Yeah, a great day for a celebration. Back-to-back wins for the Chiefs. 3 trophies for Big Red. Just an all-around, what should have been a phenomenal, great day, and it has to end like this.
Not to talk about this for too long, but I guess my question is, because I just saw this within the last hour, was this as the parade was going on, as it was finished? Did they stop the parade? What happened?
As it was finished.
Yeah.
It was just wrapping up.
Yeah. And it sounded like it was in maybe like a train station of some kind, like where people were leaving.
Well, that's where the event happened. They all, kind of, I guess, it seemed like they had like a little balcony or something where they were doing the, announcements or guys talking. But it was like right above the train station. It seemed like where they were meeting up at. So yeah, it was a shame.
Flip the switch and talk about or compare Travis Kelce to Jason Kelce. Travis ain't no Jason Kelce when it comes to celebrating.
I didn't see, what did he do today?
Well, he tried to pull off one of those Super Bowl speeches. And
I feel like
I think he was pretty lathered up, and the words just weren't coming out right. And they had to take the mic off of him.
I feel like he might feel a little pressure to do it because he's been doing it, the last 2 games before this, and then today again. I mean, he's trying, but it's not the same. He's not as good with his words.
Yeah, Jason one-upped him on that for sure. But all in all, I mean, great victory by the Chiefs. Great Super Bowl Sunday for everybody who had parties, and it was fun. It was fun. I see where the 49ers have already fired their defensive coordinator, and they're not wasting any time, are they, John?
They aren't. And it was kind of funny because we kind of saw an argument between Shanahan and Wilkes there during the game on the one towards the last drive that like, no, we're not playing this kind of defense. Get up there. And
Well, he called a timeout. He called
Right.
a timeout because he didn't like the defensive formation, and he was kind of ticked off that he had to blow a timeout, for that.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, you keep seeing they kept showing Wilkes, and he looked like a scared puppy when he was making his calls, like looking over the play chart. Like, is this one gonna be good?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Does that not feel? I don't know. Personally, I feel like that's a little drastic, right? You talk about when we talk to compare sports, you talk about the Phillies not really doing too much because they probably don't need to do much. They're right there. Do they really need to get rid of that coordinator? I mean, they had 4 losses. Yeah, you lost the Super Bowl. I get it. It's pretty friggin' hard to beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Was that really? Could you have given it a little bit more time? Like, I feel like that had to be teed up if you only had 4 losses.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't.
I thought it was
a little drastic.
It was a move that was coming, but did it have to come so quick? And
well, whoever wants to pick that guy up, I say pick him up. I mean, they had 4 losses.
He'll find a job.
Yeah,
he'll find a job. He's done a great job. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, he's got a really good defense out there. It wasn't like you said, and it was you were going against Mahomes. It wasn't it was.
Yeah,
wasn't,
and they I guess maybe they're frustrated because it looked like they were up at halftime, looked like they were going to win, and they didn't. Well, they're not the only team that's lost to him that way. So
they left a little bit too many ticks on the clock for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you can't let him do that.
Well, that and Shanahan, not going for it down on that drive in overtime. Getting a touchdown instead of ended up for the field goal. So
yeah,
but they didn't really know the rules, so it didn't matter anyway.
That's crazy. Anyway, this Fans View fantasy football contest has come to a conclusion. We get to crown a winner.
We do.
The winner is
Emily. Hold your ears. Henry won.
Wow.
He pulled it out. We had some latecomers coming up that were from the bottom. Like I said, they anything could happen in the playoff part of it because the scores being quadrupled there at the end. I know, Emily. I'm looking for a recount as well.
Wow.
But Henry won. Liz Adams Crilly was second place, and then the final 3 here: Brett Downey, Daniel Jackson, and Lewis Monroe all came from way back because they had good actual playoff rosters that they made it real close for the 3 of those guys at the end. Emily, you came in 7th, so well, but Emily, like you said, you didn't read the fine print. You had to be living in PA to be able to get the prize.
Wow, technicality.
So you should have hung around for a little bit longer before you moved away.
Jeez.
So.
I thought I made the jokes around here. I'm losing that job too, huh?
But so yeah, it was a very very fun year. I'm surprised. I can't believe it's already over. Feels like we just started. But yeah, it's I'm gonna have a little bit of free time now on my hands, not having to crunch all the numbers.
Well, I will tell you this, John. Even though I'm not a huge football guy in comparison, I don't know that you want to get involved with a baseball one because that's a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, baseball. Yeah, baseball. You can't.
Just too much. I tried one year with my friends, and I said, you just take the money. I gave up halfway through the year. I don't have time to figure that out every day.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. The baseball. I've tried it.
A lot of work.
And yeah, like you said, yeah, with all the pitching changes and some leagues are really bad where it's you can change your lineup daily or weekly, and the weekly is at least a little bit better, so you can kind of go on. But if
my friends in college were doing it daily, and it was literally, I would say, middle of May, and I said, I can't do this anymore.
Right. Oh yeah. No, it's tough. I mean, the only thing we could do is if we wanted to do something would be like for like a home run type of thing, just where it's simple and just have, pick a group of people for home runs.
What is that thing we participated in last year with the index cards with the runs?
So there's a season ticket holder of ours, Rick, and he had this. I don't know if he made it up or I don't know what it's called, but you have an index card. You pull the index card. There's one index card for each of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
You pull that index card. The first person, is it to score?
It's like, so after each game, you cross out how many runs they had, but they have to win.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the
but it's random. Like the numbers that you get on there are random, but you get like 20 numbers.
But let's say it's like I'm making it up. Maybe say it's up to 15 runs.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick the Angels or the Mets or whoever. Okay, they get 1 run, 1 game. You cross that off. Whoever gets all 15 or 20 crossed off.
Right. I've heard of that game.
Crosses off whoever completes their card first, and by crossing off those numbers wins. But it limits you because what are there, 32 teams?
Well, it's only
32 teams.
It's only
32 people. That
only
can
32 people, and then at the end, at the beginning.
What if you had different card setups? Like
you could.
Oh, like one team had different numbers. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
I like that. But it was on everybody else to track it.
Right.
Well,
sure.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
he would have told you if you won.
I'm guessing he probably made like copies of each index card so he knew.
Gotcha.
But, I would just check it every couple days and just cross them off. But they had the person or the team had to win, and then you had to have that number to cross it
and
off.
everyone's in it.
They had to win too. That makes
sense. They had to win. It couldn't just be how many runs they scored. They had to win.
So it's fun. It's fun at the beginning because hey, the Angels. If you got the Angels, for example, they had 8 runs. You cross it off, and before you know it, like you're left with like
20.
Yeah, you got to get 17 and 11, and then everyone's got 17 and 11, and someone eventually gets it.
Right.
By July, I think it was over.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It was fun.
It took that long. No.
And then I think it was $10 to buy an index card, and then whoever won, it was just one prize to the winner, and that was it.
All right.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Maybe there are other games we could look up. Who knows for baseball? Maybe there's easier ones.
John, how many years we've been doing this fantasy football now?
We just finished up our 5th year. 5th year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow, 5 years making picks every 4 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm working up.
Yeah. Anthony's been working hard.
I think it's every 3 weeks.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, Shawnee, March Madness is coming. You're right. It's your time of year, buddy.
We'll have that bracket coming up soon too. That one's a little bit easier because that one goes right on the computer. You can just zoom out.
All right, so our prize winners, Henry will since you're not local, I'll spend the extra $7 and mail the jersey to you. Priority mail. You can buy me a beer in Clearwater to cover the postage.
There you go.
And I promised, and I always keep a promise, that we would give out a second place prize. And who was that winner, John?
Second place was Liz Adams Crilly.
That's your relative?
Godmother. My godmother, yeah.
Well, you got to take care of the godmother.
There you go.
So we'll get a very nice autograph item to her as well. I guess we don't have to ship it, right? Since it's your godmother, you'll deliver it.
Yeah, I'll deliver it.
All right, she still owes me a beer anyway, so.
You gotta take the beers when you can, right?
I gotta line them up now.
Exactly.
You gotta line them up.
That's right.
Time to line them up. But anyway, moving on. Opening day around Major League Baseball. Did all the Pirates show up there, Anthony?
They did. The Pirates put out a great video the other day of David Bednar pretending he was sleeping at the stadium, cleaning up for spring. It was a funny video. And then today they were all there this morning, bright and early. It was exciting.
All right. Big things this year? I know last year kind of overestimated things.
Well, when you had 20-9, I got very excited. So, it's tough this year because you take everything with a grain of salt. You literally have some people saying some of these people have said they're going to run away with the division with the couple guys that they've gotten, which I don't think they're going to run away with anything. But there's also other people that said they're going to be in last place. There's got to be. Now I get that division's like one of the easier / tougher because the teams are all similar. But I think they could be over 500, and I think there's a chance they could make the playoffs. I don't know that they would go very far into it, but there's no reason they couldn't. If the guys are hitting that they're talking about are going to hit, and if that pitcher Skeens comes up this year and some of the other young guys start to continue hitting like they were at the end of the year, I mean, who do you got to worry about? You get the Brewers and the Cubs and the Reds, and okay, all those teams are very similar. There's no reason we couldn't. Could I see them in last place? I don't think last. Maybe like third if they're struggling, but they're better than some of those teams. So I don't know. I'm hopeful.
How do you feel about Aroldis Chapman?
I mean, personally, he's done some things that aren't the nicest, but I think
Very excited to have him on your team. With that aside,
yeah, no, I think it's very exciting. I mean, why would you not want Aroldis Chapman? He can still throw 100 miles an hour, and he could still be relevant. And he's sort of, from the press conference I saw, he's okay with being he's okay being a setup man for David Bednar. I thought there'd be some issues there because he's the older veteran and he might not want to do that, but he sounds like he's all on track.
And how old is he?
I don't know, like 35, 37, maybe something older.
Okay.
But they talked about he had an issue with McCutchen where he's thrown at him before when he was at the Reds, and he said I called him and we had a discussion, and we're moving on past that. So he said everything you're supposed to say. Hopefully, I'm hoping that they can keep him through the season because there's a reason to keep him. Hopefully he likes the younger guys and he likes to be that. I'm hoping he would be a role model, sort of like AJ Burnett was towards the end. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until there's a reason for me not to.
All right. Well, this time of year, all the teams have the same record. So
we'll see. It's exciting for sure. Anytime, no matter what team you're into right now, it's exciting.
So what's the over/under on how many trips to Pittsburgh this year? I'll set it. Vegas Carl set it at 3.
Okay.
2 to 3 is usually a good number.
Definitely 2. Two without a doubt.
2, and then sometimes
3 if we get lucky.
3 would usually be like a September,
Mm-hmm.
just because you want to get there one more time before it's over.
The schedule's a little rough this year. His schedule being off with the Fightins and when the Pirates are home. So definitely Phillies Pirates weekend because you're off that weekend. So that'll be that'll be a good one.
Usually I try to go like not April because it's chilly, but maybe sometime in May, if possible.
May, July, September, maybe.
And then the whole playoffs. So we're ready.
All right.
All the playoffs. Wow.
Save your money.
Oh, I'll save it.
We'll have plenty for that. Don't worry.
Don't you worry. The wallet will come out for that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Phillies, Clearwater, Pirates in Bradenton. They play each other quite a bit in spring training, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would hope so. I mean, you want to make those trips as short as possible. So you would think that they would all play Dunedin and they would play maybe Sarasota. Like you would think that those 4 teams might play all the time.
Yeah. I saw just before the show started, I saw a guy that I follow took a picture with Derek Hall down in spring training. So,
good.
What do you if you had not as a friend of Derek Hall, but just as an outside viewer, what do you think ends up happening there?
Well, now that we got the big kahuna at first base, and he better keep his ass healthy because, he,
Derek will
he called for this job. So
yeah, but does poor Derek have to be in Lehigh Valley again? I mean, can he at least be on the bench? Does he have to go to Lehigh Valley?
I'm not sure how many options he has left. It's got to be getting close to 0 or 1.
Yeah.
He's been there for now. It's been to be 2-3 years now.
Oh, it's been a number of years. And I feel like it was just the other day, that we were down there and it was playoff baseball and
I feel like he would if you give him a chance, but they don't give him a chance.
Yeah, from a personal side, I would love to see him move on and maybe go somewhere where he's going to get that chance. because I think he can hit Major League Baseball. I know he thinks he can hit Major League Baseball, and you just need the opportunity, right?
Well, why couldn't he be the backup to Bryce?
Well, I don't know that you need a backup first baseman, who basically can't play anywhere else.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a good bat off the bench.
100% agree.
Bryce hasn't been healthy one full year since he got here.
You're not getting any argument here.
Maybe that's the reason they really haven't gotten rid of him. You thought he would have been in a trade for somebody at some point for some bullpen arms or something, but he hasn't. So maybe I don't want to say they're high on him, but maybe they feel like, well, at least we'll keep him around as long as we can because God forbid something does happen. Then it's his job to produce. The problem with Derek, which stinks for him, is you only get a small sliver to actually come up to bat. And the last year, the year before, I can't even remember, whenever it was. I mean, he just struggled those couple times, and they got sent down immediately. If he was crushing the ball during those couple times, but you don't get the same benefit of
after he got the broken finger, and rehab down in Lehigh Valley, he never got back up with the big squad. So,
and plus, you're not going to want a young guy like him to be sitting on the bench all the time because you want to keep that bat, active and seeing live pitching. Just because of, when you would need him. If Bryce does get hurt, he's going to probably be the first one they call, up to call, replace him. So you're going to want that bat sitting there and, not sitting on the bench in Philly and not getting live at bats and then like, oh, here you go out there and pitch or hit and then you struggle a little bit like Andy was saying a couple of times and then it's like, oh, but.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be the DH because that job's going to go to Schwarber, right?
Yeah, that'd be Schwarber's job. Yeah.
So is he going to play any left field at all, you think, this year, or what do you think?
Not if possible.
Right. Yeah, maybe a few games here or there, but yeah, if they can, to keep Marsh as much as possible, and depending on what happens with him getting his knee scoped.
So what's that bench look like right now, or is it still? Spring training, you're trying to figure that out. What do you feel like that bench is going to look like? You had guys like Josh Harrison who made the team before and guys like that. Is there anyone on the cusp, or do you think it's pretty solidified?
It's you, me, Carl, and Garrett Stubbs.
I can't hit left-hander, so I don't send me up there.
That's about 3 hits total, all from Garrett Stubbs.
It's just it's gonna be tough. It's they don't really have, because what are they going to do? Have Marsh and Rojas will probably be one of the guys on the bench, maybe, depending on what they do in center field.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Weston Wilson, right?
Like, are all those guys going to make
is he still with the team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean he could potentially
he finished up the season with them, as a bench piece. So
yeah.
And there's still time to figure that out. Maybe one of those Scott Kingery's lights it up, and they give him a chance. Maybe something fun happens.
That would be funny.
Well, I mean, the damn guy.
It would be funny to see. Hey, you know what? There was no bigger Scott Kingery fan than right here. I thought he was, I thought he was going to make a big play for, being the second baseman of the future.
Yeah. Well, you kind of throw it out there, but Kingery might be an option just because he plays every position.
I hope for his sake, whether they keep him, don't keep him, he gets to make the team, get some big hits, and if he gets traded, he gets traded at least somewhere where he'll get to play. Because I feel so bad for him, what he had to go through, and the whole, I don't know.
Gabe Kapler experiment.
Well, I think that, it all started with the contract. You know what I mean? And I think that put a lot of pressure on him to live up to the contract. And, it's ruined a lot of guys. You know what I mean? It's ruined. He's not the first guy that it's happened to.
Yeah, not true. Won't be the last either.
And I'm sure going forward, just to be able to play in the majors, he'll go wherever just to take whatever amount of money just to show that he can do it, because he's I don't want to say running out of time, but he's been in the minor leagues for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like John said, the few bad years there with Clintek as the GM kind of really pushed a lot of careers, into the river.
Yeah, it's a
So,
shame.
But
So-
looking forward to the season. We talk about injuries, and hopefully everyone comes to camp healthy and stays healthy, and we can get out of the gate early and fast, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, well, that's it exactly. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you're going to have a healthy start with Harper, which, like you said, hopefully has everybody going. Ranger Suarez was already in camp, which last year he had a hard time with his visa getting into camp.
Well, you had the whole World Baseball Classic kind of
That too,
cloud over not just Philly players, but players throughout Major League Baseball.
True.
Yeah. Trey Turner, look what it did to Turner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we kind of talked about it and laughed about it, that JT Realmuto, got off to a really slow start, looked tired,
Yeah.
So hopefully, everybody wants to play for their country, and hey, I'd be right there too. But sometimes it just is not in the cards.
No, true. That's true. But hopefully you're going to have a good stretch. To be able to start off, and it's just you have the potential with the Braves coming to town to start the season to either get off to a real hot start, or you could get buried early with if it doesn't work out real well for you.
Hey, one last question before we we move on. What are the chances of Zach Wheeler getting an extension?
That's going to be a big topic, and I don't know
how much money. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure both sides would like to come to agreement. I don't know if they, but we don't know. Because you didn't know with Nola either. They kind of play their cards close to the vest.
Well, the talk on the street is that's why they really haven't chased down, another, frontline pitcher, because they got to pay.
Right.
They got a few guys that are due for contracts, and they're going to have to pony up. So
you can't not pay them either. It's first of all, they're not as old as like when Ryan Howard and those type of guys were here, so there's not as much risk, and he's at the top of his game. So, why would you not do it? I didn't fault Ruben back then, and I feel like you should figure out a way to pay these guys now. But yeah, by doing that, you got to obviously balance it. By giving someone too much, then you might not have enough for someone else. So,
well, maybe we can pick Ed Wade's brain a little bit next week.
Yeah.
And find out how general managers do that, and how much they listen to the analytic people, and the owner, as far as who he's paying and where the money's being allocated to, and see what he has to say from that standpoint.
The tough part is, if Sean Sunny wants $30 to $40 million a year, does he probably deserve that? Yes, someone, Yankees, Dodgers, whatever, might pay for that. But the Phillies got to be careful, because that's a lot of money for somebody. Not that he's not worth it, but you're not one of those bigger markets. That's.
I don't know. He's proved to be worth it. So you meet in the middle, and you sign 35 at 5 years, and
cross your fingers.
Yeah, well, that's sports, man. Look at the San Francisco 49er that ran out on the field. And tore his ACL, just running onto the field Sunday.
Yep.
But like you said, and if you don't sign Wheeler, who are you signing? Because you're going to have to sign somebody.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, you better be someone who's like worth it, and there's not that many guys out there like that. So,
well, that plus it's also, you already know he thrives here in Philadelphia. He's already pitched well. He's used to the area. There's guys, Blake Snell could come in here, and you're going to pay in that kind of money, and he may not thrive here in Philadelphia, like Wheeler did.
Let's look at the big picture, right? Nola's signed,
Yep.
right? You're going to give an extension to Wheeler. Ranger's going to have to eventually get paid.
Yep.
But, he's proved, he's a legit starter, right?
And Taiwan Walker's here for, another 3 years.
Taiwan Walker can, he can give you quality innings. You got Painter, who's going to be here eventually. You've got Mick Abel, who's been invited to Big Lake Camp. This team's pretty stacked, if you ask me. I mean, there's a lot of arms that, that they're going to be able to rely on.
I think they should, if they're looking for more arms, like you're always looking for that, especially now that everyone throws 100 miles an hour. Just get bullpen stuff, not these big flashy names. You already got the flashy names. Just get bullpen help.
I think that's what Dombrowski's been doing.
Yeah, just keep.
He's been adding a piece here and a piece there. This Spencer Dunwoody.
Turnbull. Turnbull was the guy that they got the starting pitcher.
Yeah, Spencer Turnbull. Well, he drafted him in Detroit, right? Is that
right?
So he kind of knows him a little bit. So, you're bringing in, guys that aren't costing you a lot of money in hopes that they make their way back. Lauren, how about this name? Remember David Buchanan from back in the day?
I sure do.
He's back. He's back. 14 years later, since being drafted by the Phillies, he's back.
He's a good guy too. I'm pretty sure he left us tickets for a game in Pittsburgh once or twice. He's a good guy. Yeah, he was.
Yep.
He's been playing overseas, right?
Yes. Yep.
A couple of Japanese teams, I think.
Yeah, Korea.
I think maybe Korea last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
But that's good to see those Phils guys, him, Darren Ruff, those guys that get a chance again. Just prove yourself somewhere and they'll give you a chance again.
I don't trade Crawford for a good closer. I mean, Klaus is
that kid seems to be on everybody's radar. So that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, Klaus is a good closer. He just needs the opportunity to do it well. He'd be nice to add to the piece, to the team. But Crawford, I think, would be a little bit too much. Just because we don't know what's going to happen with Rojas. Is he going to be able to hit? We know he can field at this level. It's just a matter of can he hit? And
I think it's like he put on some muscle this offseason. So
yeah,
he's been down in Clearwater for the past couple of months. So
I mean, I think he's
putting the work in.
I think he's going to surprise some people. Actually, I mean, he didn't hit in the playoffs. Okay, the darn guy's never been in the playoffs. He was in Double-A for half the year. I mean, let's give him a full season chance before we just write him off.
Yeah, nobody's burying him, but you got to have that question, right? Whether you got a center fielder that was a higher prospect being drafted, coming up. Hopefully he's going to start off in Redden next year. I think Crawford's going to start there, or be there quickly if not right to start the season in Redden. So. He's probably a year away, which, gives Rojas his opportunity to do what he can do. And Rojas could still have, a role here as a bench playing, left field if need be, or, so it's because he's a righty and him and Marsh can platoon at times, type of thing. So
it's great to see the Phillies having these, kinds of problems all of a sudden,
right?
With quality players to choose from, versus drafting guys that can't get out of their own way, and they're one and done, after their contracts have expired, and the minor leagues have certainly turned the page, and things are looking very promising there. So good to see.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely a good thing to have, because that's how you replenish your team, whether they come up and take that spot, or you can fill it as a trade piece, to move on. And
I thought I saw a picture the other day of Don Mattingly visiting Phillies camp with his son, Preston Mattingly, who's now the personnel director down there, minor league guy. So done a great job in a short amount of time.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely turned around. That's for sure.
Yep.
And I guess the next one we got to worry about it would be Painter. To see how he progresses through the Tommy John surgery, and where he's going to be, and how much does that affect him? What does he still become that elite pitcher that we hope that he should be, or does he take a step back a little bit? Still be a very good pitcher, but just not the elite ace that we were hoping that we were going to get.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully, he gets right back. I guess he's not projected to really pitch till the end of this year, and probably not until next year.
Yeah, most likely we're looking at him, for next year to be coming out. And
all right.
Depending on how he recovers, like you said, maybe he's able to pitch, in the fall ball or whatever like that, and be able to be ready for the start of 25. If not, maybe see him a little bit later in 25 by the time he stretches his arm out. But you got to be worried about him a little bit, just because of having this year behind. He wasn't already stretched out as it was to major league pitching, so he might be
all right
a little bit further than we think he is.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on to the hottest team in Philadelphia right now.
How about them Flyers?
No, you can't even give me like 30 seconds of ha-ha, rah-rah, nothing.
Let's do it. I didn't know who you were going to say.
You were right there. You were right there in front row to watch it, Lauren.
Right there. We lost drinks, popcorn. I mean, that glass was banging from both sides.
We did. The guy's phone next to us went flying because he had it up on the ledge.
So let me ask you a question. You're pretty, far into the season at this point. It's not like it's only been a few games.
Halfway.
Yeah. So they put us the All-Star break, all this stuff. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think it can continue through, or do you think there's something missing there that they might show?
Well, I mean, they've dodged a few bullets, right? They got a guy that didn't want to play in Philly, so they busted his ass right out of town. They wasted no time.
Yeah.
I was proud of the GM, Danny Briere, and his guys to put a deal together. And I think the player that they got, Jamie Drysdale, is going to be a damn good all-star here in the National Hockey League for years to come. Solid player. I mean, he's getting the opportunity, and he does not disappoint. The goalie that has had to step in and become the number one. Kudos to him. He's played good. This is a new role for him. Yeah. This is a new role for the whole team. And I just think they're coming together. It's a young team, but they're coming together. And they've got a head coach that believes in them. So the sky's the limit, right? Anything's liable to happen, right? You look at the Vegas Knights a few years ago. The unexpected. You just never know.
Are people okay with the coach now? People are getting on his butt before that he bounced from team to team, and
I think that's gonna roll with him. You know what I mean? Because look at the way they recycle these coaches in hockey. You know what I mean? They just, you're not out of work 2 days and you can find another job.
Right.
So,
well, it's that. Plus he's an old school coach a little bit, where he's harder on these guys. So he's a little bit different than any other coaches that are around, which in the good times it's good, because it's like, oh, look, it's working. But then you go on a 5-6 game losing streak and he's not in a good mood and he's a little tough, then it's like he's not as good to be around. But
well, just look at the situation prior to the All-Star break. They had won 5 in a row Then they lost 5 in a row right up to the break, and they could have easily packed it in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Last year's team would have probably said, screw this, you know what I mean, and packed it in. But look, I mean, they rebounded nicely.
Yes.
They've come out, they've played well. The player that they got last year in the Claude Giroux trade, Owen Tippett, has played.
Turkey.
I mean, you couldn't ask for any more from this kid, and they rewarded him with a contract. And he's out there every night.
Yeah.
So
I think that the team's starting to like Tortorelli a little bit, because you're seeing Scott Lawton get it was the whipping boy a little bit with them, and I think it was the game you were at, wasn't it, that he scored the goal after getting yelled at, I believe, on Saturday.
That was Coots.
Coots, okay.
Yeah, that was Coots who gave up a bad play and then came back, to redeem himself.
Yeah, but
Lawton's been in that spot before. You know what I mean? Lawton takes some unnecessary penalties, but you know what? I give him a lot of credit because he's trying to make plays.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's trying to be aggressive. He's trying to make plays. But I mean, I like the direction. I mean, tough game tonight. They're in Toronto against a very good Maple Leafs team. So we'll see.
Tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
But
why did I think it was tonight?
But Tortorelli seems like he's growing up, growing a little bit and changing a little bit too, because how he was talking about, that was basically an FU to him, and he loved it, type of thing, and so it's he knows he's tough on the guys, but he also gives them the respect. So I think that's a good thing. That they have that relationship and they know, and like you said, they moved on from a lot of players that can't handle that stuff.
Yeah.
So they got guys that are young and hungry, and like Shawnee said, anything can happen in the playoffs. You get a hot goalie going, and Harrison's playing well.
Well, just to say that they might make, let's pretend it ended and they made the playoffs. I mean, people have to be happy with that year so far, right? I mean,
absolutely.
No one was really super high on it. They didn't know how this year was going to go. So to say the team makes the playoffs, I feel like that's a success.
You would certainly think so, but this is Philly, where fans are never happy.
They got to relax.
So this ain't Pittsburgh.
See, that's for sure.
But
seriously, they're not their baseball.
Oh, they take their
hockey. They take.
By the way, I will say they do take their baseball seriously. It's just been a very long time.
They just have to be in the playoffs first.
40 years of losing is into it.
Once they get to the playoffs, they're serious.
Yeah.
No, once they're competitive, they're serious. They'll be serious this year.
So speaking of Pittsburgh hockey, when is Crosby going to say enough is enough? And
probably soon, but I mean,
they got a couple old guys though. I don't know what's going to happen to that team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they all know what's going to happen. They're down a few steps compared to where they used to be because they're old. That's what happens in every sport. But as a fan, they still put butts in the seats. That place is full every single night. People are so excited. If he played 2 minutes a game, it's like the McCutcheon thing. But obviously he's producing still pretty good numbers for his age. But they made
the All-Star game.
They love both those guys out there, him and Malkin. So it's going to be a sad day when they're done. I'm hoping that they kind of do it together almost, so that you can have like one big party for the both of them. But it's they're really into the hockey out there. Now, when I first went out there, it wasn't as much. They were struggling, and then as I was graduating high school, he must be around the same age as I am. I mean, that's when they drafted him. And then things changed very quickly. Those student tickets that were $10 were no longer available. I mean, he literally changed the whole scene where they were going to leave the city and go to a different city at that point. And so, they've done a great job to keep the team there, and they have new ownership too. The guys that own the Boston Red Sox, Mario Lemieux and I think his name was Ron Burkle, maybe the two owners of the team sold it to Fenway Sports Group.
Right.
You get worried anytime that happens. But from all examples, everything everyone said, they've actually done a good job of, keeping those guys together and bringing fans in. And you're a little hesitant when it's like a different organization, but listen, they've done well.
All right, Lauren, this is your claim to fame.
Is it?
Sixer basketball.
That's my claim to fame.
Well, your segment anyway.
Mm.
They got some lineup in here today. I guess I haven't watched in a while since all these trades.
I've never heard of TJ Martin, so I don't know who that is.
Well, he was a draft pick.
Kyle.
Who else is starting? Council the fourth?
No.
I don't know who that is.
No, he's not starting. Paul, it's pretty much Paul.
Yeah.
Paul Reed and Tyrese Maxey who are playing this game.
Yeah.
Did Buddy?
Yeah, he's playing.
He got the start.
Buddy got the start.
Yeah, he got the start.
It's going to take a little bit for me to get used to because since all this happened, I haven't really watched many games.
Kelly Oubre.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, they've gone through a dramatic change in the past week, maybe 2 weeks since Joel's injury.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see. Well, there's no Jimmy Butler tonight for Miami, correct?
Right.
No, he's not playing.
Yeah.
What do all these moves to you mean, Lauren, with Embiid? Does that mean that Embiid may not be around long or back this year? Or
Well, my dad and I were talking, I guess it was Saturday night when we were at the Flyers game, and we were talking about how the writing must be on the wall that they kind of are, giving in for the season. And that's, Embiid's probably not going to be back. And, they traded out all these guys. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Tyrese Maxey would be on board with something like that. Now you got Kyle Lowry coming back. Maybe they're not. I don't know.
I think they're just trying to fill the hole.
They're trying
to get as many bodies as you can. I don't think all these guys are long-term solutions. They just need to get as many people as they can to try to get as many games they can and get back to the playoffs.
Hold that thought a minute. Nick, are you is this breaking news? They named Sean Couturier captain? What is Nick trying to say here? Captain Coots official. What does that mean?
So it sounds like
you need to be more specific if you're going to jump on the page with some announcement like that. Sean Couturier just got named captain. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
The Flyers just announced it. It looks like it's on Twitter right now.
That's awesome. Good
We've
for
been calling
Sean.
for that for 2 years.
Very nice. He's, he not to interrupt you on the Sixers, but this is big time because they've been, without a captain for a while now, and I think Nick has earned it coming back from, being out of hockey for almost 2 years. That's exciting stuff. You got a veteran player, who's now going to lead the charge with these young guys, and you got a guy that's experienced. Good for the organization. I like it. I like it a lot.
Torch has been finally listening to the show.
Well,
what do you think makes them do that today?
I think they see things in the locker room that we don't see. Perhaps.
But why today? Why Wednesday, February 14th did we decide?
Maybe you just decided today. I don't know. Maybe something happened.
It's interesting. Maybe it's been in the conversation. Maybe they've been kicking it around. Sean has certainly earned it. Maybe Danny Briere said, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. I don't know the exact time frame without a captain. It's got to be a couple of years, right?
Well, yeah, the past 2 years.
Ever since Drew got traded.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure he was 100% healthy. That's another great point by Nick Graff. Thanks, Nick, for breaking the news on our show. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
A couple of situations, I guess the biggest being, they wanted to make sure, he was 100% healthy because he was coming back from, a long-term injury.
Right.
He's certainly been, a role model, a team player. So good for the organization. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, 1-4. So let's get back to our Sixer talk because, we've seen them tear this team apart a few times over the years. And I guess the one remaining thing is, Joel Embiid, but now you add, Maxey into the mix, so now you got two legitimate superstars, but, where do you go from here? Besides keeping Joel healthy.
I think the reason they did all this stuff is to just try to get as many bodies as they could and give them all a chance to shine to see what happens in the future. I think the plan is still the plan, which is Joel and Tyrese. I don't think they're trying to get rid of anybody. I think they just needed bodies right now, and they need to figure out how they're going to win. And right now, it's not commercial, but I think it's like 22-15. Paul Reed's doing well. The guys are all playing nice together. The Heat are okay. The Heat aren't the best. They're a couple games over 500. But I don't know that there's this deep long-term plan that us as fans are thinking about. I think they're just trying to get some wins while they're still competitive and keep it going. I think that's where it's at. And then as the season goes on, you figure out who you keep going forward.
Well, they've only got a couple of players under contract after the season. So
why weren't the guys they had sufficient?
Well, they did get I will say it was a little weird at first. They got rid of a lot of guys at once. Some of those guys, had been around for a little bit, and I thought maybe someone would stay, but maybe they felt like their bench and those guys were given opportunities and they didn't, do what they wanted to do. I have no idea their thought process, but
I think a lot of it was the guys that they got rid of were on 1-year contracts. So they freed up money for next year, cap wise. Losing Jaden Springer was the big one to me. To trade a first round pick to the Celtics for a second round pick in return, when Jaden's starting to show that he's playing some pretty good defense. His offense may not be where they want it to be right at the moment, but he's locked down a lot of good guys in the past month or so. Once he's gotten some more playing time to have a role for the playoff when it comes playoff time. That's a important part.
Is there anyone that they got rid of that you're very upset about? It kind of stinks. Some of these guys that the Korkmaz, people we had a relationship with, Springer. Right. Is there anyone that you're like, oh my God, they got rid of this guy, the team's done? I don't think so.
No. They were easy ones where, none of them, but Patrick Beverly, he became, Philadelphia through and through, and I don't know.
That's sports. It's
I'm
tough.
I'm not high on them right now, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. I just feel like I don't know that the Sixers have an identity similar to what the Flyers have been going through for the last couple of years. I'm not really sure that the Sixers have any kind of identity right now, especially when Embiid's not around.
I think they're just trying to figure it out. They've got to just use this year to figure it out.
Tobias Harris should be the next one up after that, but he's nowhere to be found.
He's hurt.
He's hurt again. Melton's hurt again. Batum's hurt again.
You got Tyrese Maxey flying up and down the court, giving you, 900% a night, which is great. But, once again, if we're trying to get away from the team being all on one guy's back, we can't just transfer the pressure from Embiid to Maxey.
And that also does scare me because he's a little guy. He theoretically wouldn't necessarily get hurt like Joel would. You're less space, but if he gets hurt, at that point, you just pack her in because he's the face right now.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole season kind of fell apart when Embiid got hurt again. And I think we
a game that he didn't even belong being in the first place.
right.
Yeah, but could you imagine if they made the playoffs with this team, and let's pretend they went just as far as they had with them, whatever.
Sure.
I mean, that's pretty damn impressive. I mean, they're not a horrible team. They're just trying to figure it out, and I don't think they know what they're doing either. They're just trying to figure it out.
Well, it's going to be an interesting mix the rest of the second half, and then what happens in the in the off season, especially if Joel doesn't come back, and you've only got 2 or 3 guys under contract. It's certainly a little bit confusing to the obvious fan. And they're still packing the place. The fans are still supporting them.
You got Tyrese Maxey. I mean, people love him. I mean, just his smile and his effort. I mean, you can't replace a guy like that. And I think they're going to be okay. It might be the best thing that some of those contracts aren't there next year, and then you can figure out what's doing.
Well, I think that's part of their plan because they're talking Paul George, as Nick had mentioned.
How old is he?
108.
Yeah.
He's been around a while.
He's been around, but there's talk that he's a guy that they're going to be going after. And I think that Buddy Hield move, is a nice move if they're able to keep him because he can spread the floor out, a little bit and shoot the 3-pointers. And he's not going to need the pressure on him when you have Embiid and Maxey around.
Well, and I also wouldn't necessarily we got to also see, like I said, I don't think you're doing that, but I'm just saying I wouldn't poo-poo this team either. They're winning by 2 points now. It keeps going up and down, whatever. But Paul Reed, I don't know that he can play any harder than he's currently playing right now. Tyrese Maxey can't play any harder than and these guys are all playing defense.
Well, I don't think we're we're looking to bash anybody for their work ethic and whatnot. It's
right.
Just that the balance of what you've got there, you got mostly G League players, as backups, on an NBA squad.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of it we're going to figure out, unfortunately, after the year is over with.
I think truly after these moves that they've made, I think the Sixers are trying to figure out what the Sixers look like without Embiid.
Well, we've looked at that and we've talked about that. And, we figured it out that Tobias Harris and Maxey and who was the third star on the team at the time? Help me out, John. Who was
Oubre and Melton were playing well at the time.
Yeah, but prior to that, you were bringing the mini van off the
George Niang. Yeah, well, last year Niang and stuff.
I mean, you had guys that played roles, that were built in, and they supported what you had going on, and now it just feels like, they're moving out as many pieces as they possibly can, with hopes of signing, this mega superstar. Who is that mega superstar?
I don't know.
Not Paul George.
I don't know. I don't know if that's it. I think they're trying to, George Niang was just, as an example, was a unique character and people loved him. And these guys are so new. I don't think we know who you love yet, right? But it's just going to take a little time, and maybe one of these guys do. I mean, they did a whole feature right before the game on B-Ball Paul. I mean, I get it. There's what else is there to talk about, really? But hopefully they do okay. I don't know. They definitely play hard, at least, for whatever that means.
Yeah, and that comes back to the coaching with Nurse.
Well, I'd love to see that squad of Nick Lowry or Kyle Lowry and Buddy Hield and Maxey and Tobias and Embiid. I'd love to see that starting 5 on the floor. If that could ever happen.
When you say it like that, that sounds like a pretty good team. So that's why I think the Sixers are just like tiptoeing right now, seeing how long we could stick in there and figure it out from there. I mean, the tickets are already sold for the season, so that's not the issue. The issue is just trying to hold it together as long as you can.
Yeah.
And as the Heat showed last year, Nate Seek, got in and went to the finals. So, it's not like you can't get there. You had to you're going to have to play the Milwaukees and the Bostons at some point, to get to the finals anyway.
Yep.
So why not play them early?
It's just it's interesting to see, where they were and where they're at right now. You know what I mean? And it just, it's just not the Joel injury that we're looking at.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Like
there's 3 or 4 guys that are hurt, that are.
So it's going to be interesting to see if they can hold down that playoff spot and whether or not it's even relevant at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're what in the 5th seed right now, I think it is.
Yeah.
There's the top 10 teams are playing for it. That's 7, 8, 9, and 10 have to play each other for the playing game. So we'll see.
So all right, real quick, Eagles news. I guess the big talk around town was the Hassan Reddick asked to be traded, not asked to be traded, asked to go out to dinner with Howie and get a new contract. Who the hell do you believe in?
He has to be his Valentine. He has to be his Valentine for this weekend.
Well, you don't. Sometimes the media could get it wrong, or the guy could not be telling the truth. So you don't know what to believe. So
right. Sure.
He seemed. I mean, when he was in the store, he seemed genuine. He seemed like a nice guy. I mean, there was some craziness that night, and he dealt with it fine. So I'm sure the guy just wants to get paid like everybody else. Like he just wants to be paid. And
like John said, there's a $10 million difference, and there's only 5 spots between the top guy and him at number 5, and he's paid the least. So
he's in a good position to be, because you have to understand, we don't know where the Eagles sit right now, how the way the season ended, and he could go to another team and get paid a lot more money. So I'm sure he does want to stay in Philadelphia, but you better pay the man. And the Eagles might not want to do that because they don't know what team they have right now. So I don't know. I don't know what the real answer is.
Well, they got a better team with him on the defense than they do without him on.
100%, John. 100%.
I guess should we pay him if we're going to lose? I don't know.
Well, but see, you got it, and watching the playoffs, the Super Bowls, defensively, the Eagles are, pretty far away. We're going to probably have 6, 8 different players, potentially, new for this next year. But you can't have a guy that that's giving you a known 10 sacks and just toss him aside and be like, oh, I'm going to get Nolan Smith's going to take his spot and hope that he's going to get you the same 10 sacks. It's not, as we've seen with Nakobe Dean, these young guys have to be able to stay healthy.
John, I'm going to ask you a question as we close out the show.
Yeah,
you're a big Patrick Surtain fan, and the Eagles have been looking at possibly trading for him.
Yeah,
would you give up a 1, a 2, and Hassan Reddick for him?
Well, Reddick on top of it, no, because the problem is they're going to have to pay. It all comes down to you got to pay Reddick or Sweat, I guess, is what the Eagles are.
Well, they're 2 different players.
Well, they are, but I mean, they're both the edges, and they're both the guys.
Sweat's not getting a $20 million a year contract,
right?
So,
because I thought I heard that Denver had interest in Sweat. I mean, I would think about that with Sweat.
So you want to counter with a 1, a 2, and Sweat?
Yeah, but see, I don't know. Yeah,
you got to give up something to get something.
You're going to have to. I don't know that you have to give up a number 1.
Definitely have to give up a 1 for Surtain.
Well, depending on what you're giving up player-wise in return, but
you just laid it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would, because he's a guy that's going to lock them down, and he's on their control for 3-4 years.
He gets put on the best receiver, on the other side, and
right. Because and then you're okay with Slay being on the other side.
Well, that's it for what, 1 more year?
Yeah, but I mean, you can deal with Slay on that side, and that's going to help, hopefully help the safeties out a little bit more, and also help the defensive line out as well by covering covering a little bit better.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a spot that Howie doesn't go after too much. So it'd be curious to see if he does.
Yep.
All
right. Well, great show. A lot of good conversation. We had breaking news.
Well, to further that breaking news, they announced Konechny and Lawton as assistants.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Well, Lawton was already an assistant.
So I guess they made it official then.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, we got plenty of time for WrestleMania. What's he worried about? We got plenty of time. It's too early.
WrestleMania talk?
Yeah, when we get closer, we'll talk about WrestleMania, which it's a huge influx of money to the city. It's great, but it's too early.
Bringing Hulk Hogan to the store?
Don't say things like that because this is a recording, so people will go back.
Go back.
Don't go to the videotape. So you better make sure that's happening if you're going to say that.
Well, you never know what happens. There's been some phone calls around.
Yeah, them walls are some crazy shit in that place.
Hey, can I make one final statement? We don't even need to elaborate on it.
Oh boy.
I understand that the NFL's for the Super Bowl is one game, and the advertising is $7 million for a 30-second commercial. I understand all that. Put that aside. Is there any way
More wine.
that baseball can play at 7 o'clock, 6:30, so that a young kid could watch it? Is there? We don't have those answers, and I know the answers are always money related. But would that be possible that it's not 12:35, 1 o'clock in the morning when a baseball game ends, so kids can watch it? I'm just saying. It seems to work in other sports. Let's see if we can figure it out.
That's you need to call the commish.
The
Let's
almighty
get him on the
dollar
show.
runs that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Get him on the show.
Yeah, let's get him on our show.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Is that a 2 wine glass show?
It is. As soon as he said one more thing.
All right, guys, gals, to everybody on board tonight. Great show, great conversation. It always is. Come out next week. Buffalo Wild Wings, Glen Mills, PA. Former GM Ed Wade. I'm sure he's got some great stories he'll share with us.
Oh yeah.
I know John's already lined up a few questions because he's the guru for digging into what the hell's going on.
Exactly, and plus you get all the inside scoop, from an GM's perspective coming into spring training here.
Are you going to ask him about Reese Hoskins?
Yeah, I'm going to ask him what the hell happened with him.
Hey, I guess my question is, does he have to be careful what he says because he's still an employee? It might
He's
be
only a scout. Easy.
Okay. Well, that's still an employee. He might have to be careful.
We had him sign a all exclusive. Yeah, he's got to say what he didn't read the fine print yet, but that's what's in there. But yeah, no, I think he's gonna have a lot to be able to tell us, from a different perspective. Plus, he was the architect, really for the best part of Philadelphia sports history.
Yeah, what was that? 07 through 11?
Yeah, there is many of GMs coming, calling to him, wanting Utley and Howard and those guys, and he said no, we're keeping them, and Hamels as well, type of thing, that being able to have them. So a lot of people bash him a little bit, but there's a lot that
that's the Philly way.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're not bashing, you're not being a fan.
Well, that's partly true. But.
All right. And this Saturday we have Rock'em Sock'em, Dave the Hammer, and Bob the Hound Kelly.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Should be a fun Saturday. But our two main creditors won't be there.
No.
Is this the first time you're checking out a show?
No. There's a Villanova.
No, we've missed a few.
Yeah.
When we were in Pittsburgh for one weekend, we missed one. There's been a few. Yeah.
All right. Not as big as this one, though.
Not as big as this one.
I think so.
The over down there over is going to be how many people are going to get punched, or asked to be punched.
Oh, well, yeah. Let's hope I was not in the middle of it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Another week in the books.
Yeah.
This Fan's View says thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Take care.
Check out the updates too for upcoming shows.
There you go.
Yeah.
See you later.